This is the Professional Edge. My name's Todd, tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. We're talking about is now the time to pivot. And when we say pivot, we got to change the direction in which we're going. We don't want to go about the same track. So if we do a right angle, 90-degree turn, then that's a pivot. We got to change. So we start 2021. We have the New Year's resolutions. We talked about getting our estate plan done. Best place to start that is at our website. That is emcadvisors.com. That is emcadvisors.com. On the right-hand side, it's how to unlock the ultimate estate plan guide. Click that. We'll send that information out to you. No shipping charge whatsoever. That's the impetus to get things started and get things pivoted for 2021 to have a different result than 2020. So again, where else are you going to pivot? We talked about doing a real quick financial plan. Let's talk about doing some tax planning. We're all getting our 1099s or W-2s, and we're thinking about tax planning. Well, I'm sorry. The majority of your tax planning for 2020 is already gone. The majority of your tax planning for 2021 is just started. So let's pivot and let's do some tax planning for 2021. So how do we do this? Well, we all understand that an individual right now, married filing joint, has nearly a $24,000 standard deduction. And we know that state taxes the state taxes are limited to 10 grand. So people are up in arms and they were going to, succeed from the union because that was going to be unfair, especially up east where they were paying excessive real estate taxes and therefore they were going to be capped at the $10,000. Well, lo and behold, now the state taxes that they pay still capped at 10 grand. Majority of individuals don't have enough of itemized deductions to take the itemized deductions. So therefore we're getting to that what they call a postcard type of tax return, front side's income, and basically all the income subject to tax, and therefore sign the little 3.5 by 5 postcard and send in your tax payment to the Internal Revenue Service. But let's skip over that and say, all right, we understand that we're going to get a $24,000 standard deduction, but what can we do in 2021 to reduce down our tax liability? Well, if you're charitably inclined and you are over the age of 70 and a half, you're taking your required minimum distributions. You're forced to take that. So we don't know if it's going to be suspended in 2021 yet. It was in 2020, helped out a lot of individuals. But let's say it's not. So therefore, you're charitably inclined. You give $5,000 to your church or charity of your choice. That is not going to help you out on your tax deductions whatsoever. So let's pivot and make the charitable contribution via our IRA required minimum distribution. Go ahead and have that $5,000 directed to the charity. And here's how that plays out for your tax plan. We're pivoting. We're still doing the charitable contribution. We're just doing a little bit better tax smart wise. So being a tax attorney and a CPA, then we direct that IRA to be paid directly to the charity. And here's how it washes out for the client. It basically says that $5,000 goes to charity, and guess what? We're not going to have to include that $5,000 in taxable income on our 1040 tax return, but the downside is we're not going to get a charitable donation deduction. Well, you know what? You weren't getting it anyway because your standard deduction is so large and it was being washed out. You didn't give enough to charity plus your other itemized deductions to count. So this way, at least it counts in the right way. It reduces down your taxable income. So you did actually get a taxable benefit from making that charitable contribution directly from your IRA as part of your required minimum distribution. So these are small things that we do at estate management counselors to pivot and help our clients maximize what they have, pay the IRS less, and also not put on that orange jumpsuit to be a cellmate with somebody you don't know. So again, if these are things that make sense to you, financial sense, to pivot to do something different in 2021, I welcome the call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. So, all right, we're done with tax planning. That's simple enough. The previous session we talked about Another way of tax planning, you have this computer that you purchased and you're an employee. Guess what? The unreimbursed employee expenses are not deductible anymore. But we shared with you how to make that deduction. So if you want that, pick up the previous episode. So let's pivot one more time. You're a real estate owner. You have your side hustle as a rental property, a couple rental properties, let's say. Keep it real simple. Ask yourself, how is the title on that real estate titled? Okay. I put one in my name and one in my wife's name. All right. That's perfect. Anything else? Nope. That's the way we did it. So the one property is in my name. The one property is in her name. Well, you got to pivot. And here's why. Because on that real estate, that's where potential liability can come from. Your tenant could slip down the stairs that you were trying to get over there to get fixed, and you just didn't have time because you had to work late and you're working from home, and then all of a sudden you're on a Zoom call, and before you know it, you're exhausted and you're going to get to it on the weekend. But before you could get there, somebody fell down the step and broke their leg. Now, guess what? They're contacting the landlord because you failed to fix that step, and that was the cause of their injury. Okay, now fast forward, you are now being sued for the broken leg that you caused the tenant because you failed to adequately repair the dwelling in which you rented to that person. And you're sitting there saying, well, my liability, I have my liability policy. That's great. That's fine. But lo and behold, through the COVID crisis, you forgot to pay the bill and your insurance has lapsed. So now you're facing an $80,000 claim for the medical bills and the complications, lost wages. You don't have any insurance. And guess what? You're exposed. You're exposed all the way because you own that principal rental property inside your individual name. Therefore, that liability of that asset is going to expose all your other assets. Now, some are creditor proof, which we've talked about here on the Professional Edge, but the majority of your assets, your home, your bank account, your automobiles, your jet ski, your boat, whatever those personal items are, those are going to be subject to the claims of that lawsuit. So again, it's time to pivot. If you are a real estate investor and you have some rental property and you own it in your individual name, now is the time to pivot. You need to create a liability fence around that piece of property, and therefore you isolate that liability, and therefore if something happens with respect to that rental property and you have a claim, then it's not going to taint or impair your other assets. Pretty simple to get done. Again, you might be going about your business and thinking it's not going to happen to me, and that's who it actually happens to. Bad things happen to good people. So again, is now the time to pivot. Yes, absolutely. Pivot now before you actually need this liability protection. So again, these are simple things that we need to do to get taken care of. And to start that process, give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. So again, for liability protection, we got to think about it here and go, all right, liability protection. We have the rental property. How many of our listeners have condominiums down in the Panhandle? Bunch, ton of them. And lo and behold, you toss your keys to your neighbor and say, yeah, go ahead and use it. And lo and behold, the balcony gives away. You know what? If somebody passes away by that unfortunate accident, you will be a defendant in a personal injury wrongful death lawsuit. Guaranteed. The lawyers are coming. Now, if you don't have that in a LLC or other liability protection item, then you will be subject to that claim. And if they get that judgment against you, then your personal assets are going to be exposed. Your brokerage account, your bank account, your home you live in, your car you drive to work. So again, now's the time to pivot. If you are serious about your rental property, your side hustle, as they are saying things, then it's time to pivot and put things in place and actually be responsible and get things done in 2021. You're not taking the time to commute to work. You're having the weekends. You're not doing a lot on weekends because we're going to see things shut down a little bit tighter to get this COVID spread under control. So now is the time to go into your home office, get some paperwork out, and say, okay, you know what? I've listened to this show, The Professional Edge. It's time to pivot and get things in order and do things what we need to get done to change the direction in which we're going. So that's the sort of impetus for liability protection. Again, bad things happen to good people, and you can proactively prevent things, but it, again, takes action to get things going. You're not going to have a different result if you don't change the direction in which you're going. So again, is now the time to pivot. Only you as a listener here on the Professional Edge is going to know whether that's the time. You may say, you know what, I'm going to wait until I have 5 properties. Well, why are you waiting for 5 properties? Because that makes no sense, because you can't control when that accident's going to happen. So what can you control? You can control putting the liability protection around these properties, and therefore you, A, are isolating that liability. There's number 1. And number 2, you're protecting yourself. Number 3, you're protecting your family for all your hard work. That's a big impetus in and of itself. So again, if this makes financial sense to you, some asset protection strategies, then give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. And do share this podcast with friends, colleagues. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on Audible. It's on the iTunes download. So again, you're not going to have to tune in on the 9 a.m. radio show. We're putting this up, and go ahead and subscribe to that. And that's a great thing. You're listening in the car. Forget about some of this noise that we're listening to as music, but pass this along to your friends and colleagues. There's some great little tips and tidbits that we talk about each and every week here on the Professional Edge. So again, we're talking about how to pivot and get things done and change the direction in which you're going. So again, we've talked about liability protection. We've talked about tax planning. And next, we're going to have coming up on the next episode, pivoting to get a little bit better rate of return, evaluate your risk, and see exactly what we need to do because we've changed the administration. What's the Fed going to do? And what impact is that going to have? So again, my name's Todd. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner, host here on the Professional Edge. I appreciate you tuning in, listening in. And if you like what you're hearing, please give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. And I appreciate you listening in.
With today's financial markets, are you getting the personal and professional attention you and your money deserve? Clients of estate management counselors benefit from having one set of professionals advise them on their tax, estate planning, and investment advice. We call that the Professional Edge. Todd is a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. With over 15 years' experience, he welcomes the opportunity to assist you in preparing for retirement, implement effective tax planning strategies, and to help you properly plan your estate. His radio show, The Professional Edge, is aired weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're interested in meeting with call his office at 877-654-9798. That's 877-654-9798. Do you want to feel more confident about making the right investment, tax, and estate planning decisions? Today, these decisions are more complex than ever. Have you thought about working with a professional advisor and not sure who to turn to? Not sure what qualifies one to be an advisor? Todd is more than qualified as a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. is with Estate Management Counselors. Estate Management Counselors operates as an independent fee-only investment advisory firm. They're dedicated to gaining a personal understanding of their clients' objectives and implementing professional counsel and advice to achieve those objectives. So take a second to talk with Todd to learn how you can benefit from their multidisciplinary practice where they coordinate their clients' legal, tax, and investment strategies into one comprehensive and integrated plan to enhance and protect their clients' financial security. You can reach estate management counselors and speak with Todd by calling 1-877-654-9798. That's 1-877-654-9798.